Just a short time to the countdown.
All right, 3, 2, 1, we are live.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen David Elliott. I am the founder and creator of Rockstar Connect with my wife, Sarah Elliott. Sarah is the producer of this show. So she is going to be running everything 3 Martini Lunch, working the chat room. So if you drop any of your information there as hosts or attendees, we'll be able to get those questions answered. We have about 20 panelists or so today, and they're all interesting. It looks like we're going to have a lot of return people, and I'm going to pose some very difficult questions to them. But 3 Martini Lunch is broadcast to all of the Facebook pages around the country that are associated with Rockstar Connect. That's 250 Facebook pages. That's a lot of Facebook pages that we moderate and administer. So a shout out to our team, Jackie and Robert and Alan and Adeline for keeping all that moving and getting all the emails about the event. Now, 3 Martini Lunch Live is based on the Success is Contagious structure of virtual networking events, where everyone, instead of just, throwing out a whole bunch of information about themselves, that was a mouthful right there, blah, blah. You will instead share your success that you've had for the week. That success could be your family success. It could be having to do with something spiritual. It could be your business. It could be something you've done for a client. And what we're trying to accomplish there is when people know what your success is, they'll know more about you. They'll like you. They'll trust you, and they're going to want to do business with you. So that's the purpose of the Success is Contagious format. I just want to share with you a little bit about what's going on in the world of networking. I have spoken to networking leaders all over the country, and this is a very big change for them. Well, I mean, this particular event we're doing right now, 3 Martini Lunch, we've been doing this now for 21 weeks. Which means if we've been doing this for 21 weeks, that means there's a lot of live events that are not happening all over the country. So I've been speaking with these networking leaders, and a few of them in some rural areas or elsewhere, they're doing some live events that are very private, they're very safe, but they're not doing anywhere near as many live events as they would like. The general consensus is, though, starting in November, there will be many live events going on around the country. Rockstar Connect hopes to have, if not as many, close to as many as we did prior to COVID, coming in November. Those events, will they be different than pre-COVID? You bet your bippy they probably will be. We're going to be taking a lot of doing social distancing at events. We're going to be wearing masks and doing everything to protect other people and keep them safe and make them feel more comfortable through our actions and behaviors. Now, we've been having a great event, and I think, Chris is there from Sullivan's Steakhouse. Sullivan's Steakhouse is local to Raleigh. Rockstar Connect is located in Raleigh. That's where it all started with the North Hills Networking event. So a lot of the events that we try, although we may start them elsewhere in the country, Raleigh's a good place because Sarah and I can hop in a car and go to the event. We are doing an actual physical 3 Martini Lunch at Sullivan's. We had a great one last month. Another one is coming up on the 27th. What's the difference between one of those events and a typical Rockstar Connect event? Well, usually Rockstar Connect events, except for Success is Contagious events, are held in the evening at restaurants, and they're absolutely free to attendees. The hosts are paying for the events. They're the ones that are making it happen. Because of COVID, though, we need to have a lot of control of our events until we are told otherwise by people that know much more than we do. Although Sarah and I know a lot, there are a lot of people that know a hell of a lot more than we do, until they give us the go-ahead to do it the way we did it before. The events that we are doing at Sullivan's, the 3 Martini lunch, and we're going to be doing these all over the country shortly, people do pay to attend to go. Also, there's a limited amount of seats at the events. So if you went to a North Hills networking event, which is my event, with Rockstar Connect, we usually had between 150, 200 people attend in an hour, and we would pack in like sardines. I mean, really, I'm surprised the fire marshal didn't put us out of business, but that's how tight it was. Not that way when we do a 3 Martini lunch live event. There's a lot of social distancing at the event. People that are going there, they really have a reason to going there because they're coming out of their pocket. They're spending some money. They're getting a great deal, mind you. They're paying $55 for the opportunity to network and have a fantastic Sullivan Steakhouse lunch. So there's a big plus there. And also you're sitting at a table with a few other people that you get to interact with. And I mean, you're not picking up their check. Let's just say that. You're not writing a check for $500 to take a whole bunch of people to lunch. They're kicking in Dutch treat. Who knows what Dutch treat is? Okay, yeah, you know, that's when everyone pays their share. I think that's the way the millennials do all their dating now. Back when I was dating, that was a no-no. You did not Dutch treat, or that would be your last date. This event, though, it's good on your pocketbook if you do not have as much revenue as you normally did with your business, or you're just being cautious in how you're doing your networking and spending your money properly. So check out, we have some videos on YouTube of this event and how it works, and we can make this event happen right now, currently in your market. It can be done right now. Our next one is the 27th. Make sure you get a ticket. And we do have people that are actually coming from out of Raleigh and out of the state just to observe this event and also meet the great people that are going to this event. Now, what I love about 3 Martini Lunch, the virtual event that we're on right now, is it is national. There's people tuning in from all over the country on this, and they are making one-on-ones with one another after the event. Panelists are meeting with one another, and business is literally being passed back and forth. I mean, from last week's event to this week's event, I've had referrals that potentially, I mean, at the very minimum, will put $20,000 in my pocket, and on the high end could put, multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars in my pocket with relationships I've created on this show. Are you panelists doing one-on-ones? Or are you getting to know each other better and getting comfortable doing business with one another? Raise your hand if you've been doing that. Great. And what about your social media, your LinkedIn? Are more people connecting with you? Yeah, that conversation's a lot easier too, because they know what you're like. They know what Jenny Midgley is like. Brash, brave, fears nothing. I mean, it took a whole lifetime to get where she is, but I mean, she has no fear at all. Rhonda, Sher, incredible connector. Katia, a celebrity in her own right. But everyone here on this panel is dynamic, and they are true networkers. So if you are in the audience and you want to go on LinkedIn and link in with any of these people, these are the type of people that when you send them a message on LinkedIn, unless you're trying to sell them something right away, then they're probably not going to respond. But if you send them a message on LinkedIn saying you want to talk to them or connect with them, they will connect with you. Am I correct there, or am I going? I'm correct. Okay. Well, that's terrific. I had a great session this week with Rhonda Sher. I'm going on my 3rd phone call with her this week, and I'm going to be on her new radio show tomorrow. And this is a nationally broadcasted radio show. So before we jump into the meat of sharing our successes, Rhonda, could you tell us a little bit about your show and what type of questions you ask on that show and what makes it different than other business radio shows?
The network is called Society Bites, BYTES, and they have about 250,000 people that are downloading the show. And I'm going to be doing 4 25-minute segments, and I thought, who better than Stephen David Elliot, who has the most amazing platform, is probably one of the best networkers I've ever met. And, it's an opportunity for you to share what Rockstar Connect is doing. So basically I'm going to be recording 4 sessions once a month on a Wednesday. And I am so excited to have you on and have you be able to promote Rockstar Connect. You never know who's going to want to be your next, host in your live events or jump onto your panel. So that's what that's going to be tomorrow. And then it'll air probably within about a month.
Well, that's fantastic. And that's a great name. What's the name of the network?
Society Bites, BYTES.
It's good. It's not as good as the name of Jenny's show, Girls Who Do Stuff, but it's a great name. And we're really excited about doing that tomorrow. 250,000 people. But no cameras, so I can be wearing.
No cameras. We're doing it on Skype. Yep.
Okay, then I will definitely be wearing my pajamas or a variation thereof. Networking is hot. People really want to be able to network now. Can you believe in the middle of COVID, we have taken, since last week's shows, 4 phone calls from people that want to open up new markets for Rockstar Connect where they want to do live events. Because they said they're sort of getting sick of the Zoom thing. They want to meet people face to face. I get it. I mean, here, like, I know all of you guys, so it's a lot of fun participating with you, and it's very enjoyable. But just going into a Zoom room with people I've never met before, I don't feel like I make the same connection that I would do in a face-to-face meeting. So let's get started on this all. I'm going to start off with Noah because she's not usually in our first hour. She's in our second hour, and then she has to wait a super long time to share her success. But we're going to start off right away with you. Noah, can you please tell us what has been your greatest success in the last week?
So, hi everyone. Nice to open up the panel this afternoon. I'm an executive and leadership coach. I work a lot with social leaders, and I always bring the intention to what is my success, because I know Stephen will ask me this question. And thinking about it for this week, I think those are 2 clients that I invited them and challenged them to advocate for themselves many times. And I'm saying it here because we are all connectors and we're all helping each other. And I see that a lot with my clients. They really want to advocate and help other people, if it's in company or doing it with their business. And it was really interesting when I asked them the question of, when do you advocate for yourself? And they needed a moment to pause. One of them even said, this is selfish to advocate for myself, and realize that it's fine and it's okay, and give themselves the permission to do so. So my invitation, I think today with that success, was to hear, after I asked them that question, to see that they took on the initiative to go and say what they need and what they want to become their best selves. It's so easy for us to ask that others, but when do you take a moment for yourself to ask, what do I need and what do I want, so I can become my better self? As a mother, I try to ask that, not always good about that, but I think we forget to give the permission to ourselves. So that felt like a great success when they shared with me the stories of what happened when they paid attention. Sometimes it starts with someone asking you a question and you just taking the time afterwards to think about it. So that's it.
Well, that's great. I mean, it sounds like you really dug in also to have them express what their goals were as well.
Yeah, that's a lot of what we do in coaching conversations. It's how can I help myself grow? And it was just right. My husband just saw the Michael Jordan documentary. Good. So you don't have to be in your low to work with a coach. This morning I worked with a CEO, and he said, I am selling right now the only office in the world that's selling 20% more sales than anyone else, but I want to break the market. So I don't want 99%, I want 100. So it doesn't mean that you have to be on your low to work with someone to help you. Sometimes it's, I am here, but there is more, and I need to give myself that permission. For example, for him, is taking a risk. and knowing that maybe someone will be pissed off with him, but he's willing to take the risk that he will break his competitor and take on the market. That's what he wants. So, the goals are different for each one of us, but it's a very important conversation.
As a coach, and that he's there making some very aggressive statements.
Yeah.
And those are not the type of statements that I would see coming from Noah. How do you coach some? I mean, because you don't want 100% of the market. Personally, you want the best clients you can possibly have. Mm-hmm. So how do you advise someone who says, hey, I want to crush the market? That's very bold.
It's very bold, but the conversation for me, it's less about, the outcome. It was more about, I want to stop being a good boy as a CEO, and I need to take on some actions and give myself the permission to take some risks. And that's something that I hear a lot in the conversations with my clients. So sometimes when someone talks about the goal, it's less about that specific goal. It's more about me wanting to stop avoiding doing something. And for him, it was, I'm a good boy since I started working for 2.5 years in this company. And I think it's time for me to taking on a risk that's going to be huge, but will bring amazing results. So I hope it makes sense.
Well, I'd like to hear, it makes sense. I'd like to hear more about that, because it's hard to be, sometimes you have to be an SOB. Everyone knows what an SOB is, and it's hard to be an SOB when you're, a nice person, but sometimes you just got to be tough. So we do want to hear more about this, certainly in the future, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Sher in Miami, Florida. First of all, how's it going down once again in South Florida, the largest hotspot in the world for COVID? You guys must have walking zombies there and people just like smashing down buildings and stuff, right?
Well, I don't think we're the #1 spot in the world. I think that's a little bit south of us. I think South America now has that title, and probably it's going to be Rio or Sao Paulo. But Miami's pretty good. We're actually doing better when it comes to the COVID. And, I've known 3 people who've gotten it, and it's all been minor. They never went to the hospital. It was like a bad cold for 2 days. So it just depends.
Well, but they're doing well.
Other than that, we're having at your family bank and Safe Harbor Group, I hate to say it, but the whole thing with the COVID and people losing their jobs, it just drives them to us, because now they learn how to become their own bank. And when you're your own bank, that means you've got money that you can access in times like this, and it's yours. You just say, I want it, you get it, and that's a good feeling. And that's pretty much the short version, Mr. Steve.
So what's the longer version? What's some personal successes you had outside of business in the last week?
Well, let's see. Lobster season opened. We were down in the Keys and we got a couple, so that was good news. Sometimes we go scuba. But last time we went snorkeling. It's a lot harder when you're snorkeling because, they're down 10 to 15 feet. You got to swim down, find them, catch them, and bring them back to the surface. So,
are you a Big Joe's fan? Big Joe stone crab fan?
Yeah, I'm a pretty big Joe's fan, but stone crabs are a different animal than a lobster.
They're great.
Don't forget, lobsters down here don't have claws. Stone crabs, you get your finger in the claw and they squeeze, they're going to call you 9 fingers.
100%. Whenever I want stone crabs and I say, hey, I'm gonna order some from down there and have them shipped, it's never seasoned. And then by the time it's seasoned, I completely forget about it.
Well,
completely forget about it. But this year I'm going to remember, because you're going to remind me.
I'll remind you. It's all the months with an R.
That's it, right?
Except September.
September.
No, except September. October through May.
October through May. Welcome, Jenny, to the show. Jenny,
Thanks
tell
for
us a
having
little
me.
bit about yourself, please, and what is your success?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. I enjoy these 3 martini lunches where I don't drink martinis because I have to drive home after. Um, but I am a content marketing specialist and brand and marketing photographer. So I help people get seen and stay seen and engage with their ideal clients and customers in the digital space. I also have a podcast. It's called Girls Who Do Stuff. Sarah Elliott is our guest coming up on, don't tell me, I know the date. Ooh, maybe I don't know the date. August 18th, so next Tuesday, her episode will be released. So that's exciting. So next week when we do this, we'll be talking about that. And yeah, success for the week. I spent Sunday laying in bed doing nothing. That was my success for the week. I woke up and I said, you know what? It's been a while since I've had one of these days. And I said to my husband, it's going to be a lay in bed day. And that's what I did. And I binge watched Hoarders.
Was that Sunday or was that Saturday?
That was Sunday. Saturday, I was working all day. I started with a branding session in the morning, 2 branding sessions actually in the morning, came to my office, edited, recorded some content for my online course, and went home. I don't know what time it was. It was later in the day.
Well, I'll tell you, you would think if you were looking on Facebook that the whole world is in bed every single day.
Right?
7 days a week. But the reality is if you own a business and you want to say, hey, I want to take off 2 or 3 days, you can do it, but there's going to be repercussions from it.
Right.
You're going to end up going back into working. But Sarah and I, we purchased 6 weeks ago a bed. And not just like a bed, like the Rolls Royce of beds, adjustable and change the firmness, and it cleans the house for you and does things. And on Saturday, we stayed in bed.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think we ended up working from bed too.
Right.
But now we can tilt the back all the way up, which makes it a lot easier to work. That's for sure.
It's funny you said it. I actually had to make the conscious effort to not go get my laptop on Sunday. Like it was because I said, no, it's been a while since I've had one of these days. And the reason that I worked all day Saturday was because I had a professional organizer come on Friday to work with me and my son so that everything would be ready for when school started, because we're doing virtual. So, you know, we had the organizer, she was there for 6 hours on Friday. So there was 6 hours of my time that was spent with them. Right. It has to be made up somewhere. So, but I did have to make a conscious effort not to go get my laptop and not to work. And, you know.
Well, don't worry about the virtual schooling. We're all going to pretend our kids are in school.
I know.
They're virtually going to be in school. What it's really going to be is take your kid to school day, but indefinitely for like another year. Sort of think of it as like, you know, find a good task that they can do, teach them business, and, you know, at the end of this, they will be content and marketing and branding experts.
Exactly.
Number one. So we had a success this weekend. We went down to go look at a new puppy. So Mary, our dog Mary, can have a sister English Bull Terrier. And, you know, sort of hemming and hawing, maybe not this time around are we going to get it. But guess what happened? I got a listing from the people that were selling the puppy. So just happened to be in their house, said, your house looks wonderful. And they said, yeah, we're working with a real estate agent. We terminated with them after 2 days, and now we have them under contract. So we get a free puppy and profit.
That's amazing. And the puppy's adorable.
Oh,
I've seen pictures.
His name is going to be Ziggy. We'll put a picture up. Katie Blomquist in Charleston, South Carolina. And I said South Carolina this time because I always say North Carolina. She did like the most incredible thing this week. I guess this has to be sort of like a lifetime success. So why don't you share that with us?
Yeah, so I got to yesterday go be on a private tour of the Charleston port. And I got to go up on a tour of the crane. And it was 165 feet in the air. And it was the coolest thing ever. It was the port. So they have 3 unions within the port. I learned a lot there. And the ones that control the gate, the Charleston gate controllers, I think it's actually called, who control all the trucks that come in and out, they reached out to me and said that they want to get involved with going places. And hopefully, you know, it looks like it might be on a pretty big level. So that would be great. But they invited me to come to learn more about the port. So they organize this tour, and they don't do this for people. Like, this isn't something like someone could just contact them and get. So very few people have gotten to do this. So if you look at my LinkedIn, I put a couple pictures, but my Facebook and my Instagram and Going Places, Facebook and Instagram, have all the pictures and videos. And I had the hard hat and the vest. It was very official. But you get in this tiny, you can't even really call it an elevator. It's like a lift where it was not social distant in there. I mean, you were 3 people packed in, all shoulders touching, like awkward, like too close eye contact. And you go up 165 feet. And then when you get up there, a lot of it's at like metal grate. So when you look down at your feet, you're looking straight down to the ground. So that part made me a little, what?
This is much more than skydiving. I mean, you don't have a parachute or anything. You're just.
Yeah, I could never I'm not scared of heights really, but I could never skydive or bungee jump. Like, in the right situation, I would be scared of it. But it was really, really beautiful. I mean, even looking over at the containers, it's just a sea of them, and they're so beautiful because they're like all these bright colors, and it was just an incredible experience.
Well, that's fantastic. And what you're showing really for our audience, now a lot of people that are listening to this, they are entrepreneurs. They do own, or they own their own business. And not for profit, it's a not for profit business. People forget that end part of it. It's structured differently. They not for profits have certain business goals just like any other business. Yeah. But when you own a business, it gives you the opportunity to do wild, crazy, and amazing things. And I speak with our panelists all the time. They're always doing something interesting and exciting that someone who just had a regular old job would not be able to do. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it was, I mean, look, I titled it Work Perks. Like, that's how I started off my post, because who would have thought that owning a nonprofit would get me, I'd be able to go do something that neat?
It's very exciting. And I think it brings terrific when you do something like that, because it brings a lot of attention to your business and your charity when you share the experiences that you have. And when someone goes to the mountains, or like with Mark, if he goes out on his boat, or Domenic, with his private, bar / restaurant in his house, it brings a lot of attention. So our next panelist, Andrew Pierce, he did something really cool this week, and that's new. Wait, with Sarah, you want to say something, Sarah, real quick? Right, Sarah's going to grab a puppy picture and put it up in a minute. Let me just, after I finish with Andrew. Andrew invited people to come stay with him in a mastermind. How is that shaping up? What are you planning on doing with that?
It was sort of a half-baked idea, like most of mine start out, but
like all good ideas.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've met people through this 3 Martini lunch panel that I might not have met at the same time. It might have taken, a longer amount of months or years. And, I've really connected with quite a few people just because our personalities mesh. And on top of that, we'll be able to work on a business level together. So why not, once things relax and it slows down a little bit, and people go back to school, so there's less people down here where I live in Wilmington because it's a tourist town. Kind of get some people to come, not a huge group, but smaller, and just really collaborate, because Stephen, a friend of ours, took me out to Colorado years ago.
Right, that's a great trip.
Yeah, with Lauren and Tanner, and I still apply things that I learned, 4 years ago in that house. And I would love to recreate that tribe, that really close-knit group that just, no matter where you live, you really benefit from knowing each other.
That's an excellent idea. I think Rockstar Connect should do some retreats. Sarah and I love the mountains.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. It's really hard to get to the mountains right now because everything is rented, including, tents and outhouses.
I just got back from there. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. And you really can regenerate, walk barefoot out in the mountains and look at nature. I'd love to spend some time with some like-minded people in a big old house there with a chef and just work on our business plans. And yeah, like a chef like Andrew. For those of you who don't know, Andrew is a marketing guru, a real estate agent, and also a first-class chef. So yeah, great idea, Andrew. And I think just even having the idea is a success, because it was really bold to put that out there on social media. And I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you.
Steven, you want to do a trip with Andrew, Chris, and I.
Well, I'm a fairly good cook myself. So.
Well, I said that's why I said you want to do
a
a trip with the three of us.
Quite a trip. We could give everyone, their opportunity to have a day.
Yeah, throw Clint in the mix.
I'm a great eater. Yeah, that helps.
I'm a good sous chef too. I worked at a kibbutz for a year, and I was responsible for the prep kitchen, and we cooked for meals for 2,500 people, sit down 3 times a day. So if you want me to cut the eggplant and all that stuff, I'm ready to do it. It's not beneath me. It's sort of zen.
Yep.
Doing all the prep work, if you're good at it. What were you going to say, Andrew?
No, I was agreeing with you 100%. It's therapeutic, man. Knife work.
And knife work, it's great stuff. So I'm going over to you, Domenic. Wait, Sarah wants to show the picture, and then I'm coming to you, Domenic. That's the new puppy named Ziggy. Coming to us. You guys see it? Okay. Thank you, Sarah. And so we're very excited about this puppy. We don't know if our dog Mary is excited, but we're hoping she'll be excited too. Because she's an only dog now. We'll see what it's like with siblings. So I want to, first of all, congratulate Domenic on an incredible success. He hosted the big North Carolina virtual event last week. It was great. He had a terrific question that he utilized with the group, a great topic. It was so good, in fact, that I didn't have to think of a topic for this week, and I'm just going to steal his topic and use it for the second half of this program. Why don't we give everyone a little head start so they can start thinking about it? Domenic, do you want to share what the topic was last week?
Sure. Yeah. The topic was, what do you want written?
How do you want to be remembered, right?
Yeah. Well, it was more or less, what do you want written on your tombstone? Which is that kind of question. What's the legacy that you want to leave? What do you want to be remembered for after you're not here anymore, right? So that's an important thing, right? Because the only thing that you're going to be remembered for is how you made people feel, the integrity that you had when people interacted with you, the love that you showed, and the kindness that you gave to people. And and if you didn't do those things, then you're either not going to be remembered, or you're going to be remembered in the wrong way. And I can't think of anybody that actively wants that, right? So there's different ways to kind of quantify what it is that you want to be remembered for that's on that positive spectrum. So it was a very interesting thing to see what was important to people and what they really valued. Because that's kind of the ultimate question, right? Is like what's most important to you is what you're going to be remembered for.
100%. And I think, and I will take it further. I think it's a perfect topic for our panelists and our attendees, because we do care what other people think about us and what they will think about us when we're gone. And if you look at popular culture and you look at what's on in the movies and on TV shows, like with shows like Difficult People and The Worst People and this, that, and the other thing, there's sort of a celebration of being nasty and mean and not helpful and being selfish. I think that's what Hollywood is putting out there. But in my general experience, the people that I meet, they want to know how they can help you first before they ask for help for themselves.
Well, so pain and violence is entertainment, right? So you think of the old adage in news: if it bleeds, it leads. I mean, it's just like the idea of watching somebody get hit by a bus. It's horrific, but you can't turn away from it. So the idea of like kindness and compassion, yeah, it's a feel good story and it lasts for a few minutes, but it doesn't draw the viewers, but what it does is that it creates the memories, and those are the things, the people that you care about are going to remember long after. So, you know, those, it might not be the biggest thing in the moment, you know, as far as what has entertainment value, but it is the biggest thing long term. And you know, the impact that we have in the community, and people like, you know, let's say Katie, and how she's, you know, affecting the lives of all of these children, or Mark, and how he's helping all these people get out of debt, and the impact and the relief that creates. Those are all extremely positive things. They're not going to make the nightly news. They're not going to make, you know, the reality TV show, Real Housewives drama situation, but they're things that are important and impactful, and you know, they're the most important thing, and that's what we're here for.
100%. My grandfather, who is very much an inspiration for Rockstar Connect, an incredible networker, he told me when I was young, he said, you know how a lot of people say he who dies with the most toys win? He said, he who dies with the most friends win. The toys are the things that you share with your friends.
True.
And he took that to next level. He was the type of guy, if you liked his car, he would write over his, you know, pink slip to you and say, here, take it. You look like someone who would enjoy it, or give you his watch or his tie, because he knew it was really easy to accumulate material things, but he needed to have friends to enjoy them with. You know, what fun is it, you know, having, you know, dining all the time by yourself if you're eating the best caviar in the world, if you can't share it with a friend? 100%.
Yeah. Eventually it all starts tasting the same. So it's the memory that you build. The food tastes great, and you remember it tastes great because you remember the moment that you were in with it, right? You know, you'll like, you know, the night that I proposed to Heather. I mean, we went out to a burger restaurant, but I'm going to remember that burger for the rest of my life, not because it was this amazing burger, although it was good. I'm going to remember it because I'm going to remember the environment we were in. I'm going to remember the emotion that we felt from that night, and it's going to go in my memory bank as the, you know, the burger of my memory. But that's because the food is tied to the emotion, it's tied to the love. And if you know, if you just don't have that, you don't care about that, then it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter if Andrew, Chris, Stephen, David, Elliot, and I worked on the meal. You're not going to remember how good it tastes.
Right. But it's funny because, like, with your engagement, you shared that, which was a tremendous success in your life, with people on social media, and it's part of their psyche now.
Yeah,
everyone on this panel that's friends with you on Facebook knows exactly what you're
and
talking
about. If you want to get an in-depth understanding of what that was like and kind of feel the emotions along, you should listen to Jenny's Girls Who Do Stuff podcast, where we talked about the engagement story and how it actually went down from my perspective. And it's a good story. I liked it.
It was a very good story. And unfortunately, Heather was on before. Heather and Domenic have both been on the podcast, and he was on after the engagement and proposal, and she was on before. So we only have his perspective.
I think we have the potential, you know, for another episode, you know, possibly, you know, dealing with this particular topic about sharing your successes with your, you know, with your audience, with your fans, with your friends, tribe, and nation, and how that's beneficial not only for you, but for them. Great stuff, Domenic. Michael Arrick. Now, Michael is in New York. He is in a beautiful place. I mean, Hudson Valley, one of the most beautiful places in the United States. If you have not been there, right now in the summer, he probably has some of the best weather in the United States, unless there's an aberration. Sometimes it can get super hot, but that's rare. And Michael is a very enthusiastic person. And when he became a Rockstar Connect host, he said, I really have no motivation business-wise to become a Rockstar Connect host. That's not why I'm doing this. I want to be able to give back to other people so that they can experience life with the love that I have for life. And, you know, he and I are about the same age, probably within a year or two. And as an adult, he had a real transformation in both his, you know, private life and in his business life. And he just wants to share that energy. That's his success. Michael, instead of me taking all your talking points, why don't you share a little bit?
Yeah, no, again, my name is Michael Arrick. I'm a real estate agent for the last 10 years. I work for EXP. We're family, Andrew. And, you know, one thing led to another. I just realized houses don't sell themselves. You guys are talking about, you know, time. Time is very limited. And, you know, everybody gets caught in these ruts where people don't know what they want out of life. And they just, you know, it's that recorder. Well, I can't do this. I can't do that. And he said, she said, and all that. And I just realized that, you know, the power of somebody else's network is your net worth. So, you know, I was involved with other companies. I'm not going to mention their names. There are other large network marketing companies out there, you know, network companies out there. And, you know, there's always fees and there's mandatory meetings and there's this and there's that. And, you know, and that's why I got involved with Rockstar Connect, because I saw it wasn't in the Hudson Valley. And I just wanted people to get together and network. And of course, you know, if I find the right people that, you know, have the same drive that I'm looking for, the same mindset, and those unique people, I'm going to sit them down and say, let's have a talk. You know what I mean?
Right. And you might have to
not looking for everybody.
You might have to meet 100 people that match your, you know, your commitment and energy level towards what you're doing. I mean,
oh yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, every 100 people, you'll find one leader. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, basically, you know, if you can determine how many people you need to meet with to find that ideal client or ideal business partner, and then you can put a dollar on it, then you'll know exactly how much money you'll make if you meet 100 people.
And the difference, and again, I do real estate, but like I said, I do real estate because I love real estate, but houses don't sell themselves. And I realized there was a broker that said, hey, Mike, do you look for other ways of making money? I got involved with this company, and the way the virus affected and everything went down, here I am on Zooms building an empire in the UK, in the United States. I just signed somebody up in Clearwater, Florida. Just like, you know, everybody is in a whole nother world now. You know what I mean? It's in a whole nother world. So I was trained, and there's trained and there's untrained. So I love what I do. And like you said, when it comes to business partners, I'm looking for people that want to make money, but I'm only looking for the people that are looking for me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, it's funny, you talk about houses don't sell themselves. They don't sell themselves anywhere but in Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh, North Carolina, you can sell, anything sells now. Like, there was a real estate agent, and I was doing a little mentoring with him, and he said, oh, the photos are like 15, they haven't shown up yet on the MLS, and I'm concerned I'm missing this opportunity to sell the house. I said, frankly, you could take a shoebox, fill it with broken glass, use toilet papers. If you cut out a door and 2 windows, you'd sell it within 15 minutes in Raleigh.
Yeah.
We have a super hot market because I got to tell you, this is a great place to live.
Yeah.
Check out Raleigh, North Carolina if you're listening to this show. I know a few good real estate agents in North Carolina.
I almost moved to Carolina Beach at one time in my life, but then I realized there was no work there. So I can't live there.
It's a big change though now, Andrew. I mean, Wilmington's, you know, right near Carolina Beach is a big city now.
Yeah. I took my ex to the Hurricane Museum, and that didn't work out too well either. You know what I'm talking about? Down on the Carolina Beach, way down on the bottom, there's a museum where all the hurricanes, and they show all the path, and everything just leads to Wilmington. Every single hurricane went right to the Wilmington area.
But people in Wilmington have absolutely no fear.
Exactly.
Like, you could tell them, like the old speech, well, take a marker and write it on your arm, because that way we can identify the body. They're like, okay, we don't even identify the body. We're going to have a party before the hurricanes. Does not dissuade them. Here in North Carolina, we had in the same week an earthquake and a hurricane. And most people didn't even wake up for them. You know, just slept right through them. I know Mike.
The hurricane woke me up. Not the hurricane. The earthquake woke me up.
We couldn't feel it in our new squishy bed. We just couldn't feel it. So Mike Manning, who is not afraid of hurricanes and earthquakes.
I was actually awake Sunday morning doing some work, and the house shook for like 5 seconds, and it felt like 10 dump trucks were driving up the driveway. And so I went to look out the front door, see if this big truck went down the road, and not one of my first 10 thoughts was an earthquake. I just didn't know what it was.
Maybe the grandkids knocked something over in the garage.
I know I didn't knock anything over, so I just didn't know what happened, but it was interesting.
So great successes for you this week. I know that a couple podcasts launched. There were some big ones for you this week with some really good guests.
Our first of two podcasts with the big frog himself, David Riddell, dropped, and he talked about Giver's Gain and involving community. And the second episode of his will come out on Thursday. So we had a lot of fun. David's one of those great guests. You just ask one question and you're good.
That's all you have to do.
Great. He was so funny when we finished taping the first episode. The only thing he said was, "Did I talk too much?" I'm like, "Do you think you talk too much?" He goes, "No, just being me." I said, "We're good then."
Some people are just great guests. Someone put a post up today, in fact, on Facebook, and it was a great question. I mean, I would suggest you guys put it on your social media. And they said, "What would you be able to speak about for 30 minutes without doing any preparation?" And I responded, "Anything." I'll talk about anything for 30 minutes. I don't need any preparation. The person said, "We really need to meet in person." But I think that's the social media post of the week. So I'll just repeat that. What subject can you talk about in 30 minutes without any preparation? Put that on your social media. So Mike, what's been another great success for you this week?
Was speaking today on, Trinity and I work with small business owners trying to help them get some systems and processes in place, namely on sales and marketing, because you got to know your numbers. You got to know who your ideal clients are. So I did a Facebook Live presentation today asking all of these small business owners, are you an experience or are you a transaction? Because as customers, we all know when we walk into a place what we are just by usually how we're greeted. But do you care about the person or do you care about the transaction? So and the best example I give is I've always been a McDonald's guy. I'll always be a McDonald's guy because I love the dollar menu, but I know what I'm getting there. But I love going to Chick-fil-A when they say my pleasure. So
I have to tell you, McDonald's has really stepped up their game during COVID. Now that they don't have people waiting in line inside, they're making a lot better sandwiches. And their ex-CEO is in big trouble. Big trouble this week if you haven't checked the business news. Chris Rogers, let's go right from McDonald's to Sullivan's Steakhouse.
Well, let's see. I mean, the tide is turning. You can see the consumer confidence coming back. I'm getting busier and busier week in, week out. And especially with successful events like Success is Contagious Live, which if you have not bought tickets yet, I strongly suggest you do it. The last one was such a huge success, and we've taken, no shortcuts on any bit of precaution for all of our guests that come in. And you're all still going to have an amazing time, and you're going to make meaningful connections. Success-wise this week, I would definitely have to say we got our first month's numbers back since being back open, and Raleigh has taken the top spot in the whole company as usual, back on top, which I can't be mad about. It just continues. Right now I'm booking, probably doubling up on the amount of events I'm booking week in, week out. So it's been great. So
really, there are 4 restaurants that are forward thinking. This really is an opportunity for them because a lot of people don't want to have 20 people in their house because you can't social distance in your house.
Yeah, and again, we're fortunate to have the space we do have, and now's the time to gain the market share too. Now's the time where the winners are going to push harder and win even further. So I'm excited to see what the end of the year or the beginning of the next year happen.
And what's also great is you haven't discounted yourself to achieve that.
No, not at all.
More service at even higher level.
Well, just like Mike was saying, when people come to Sullivan's, they expect experience, and that's what they're going to get when they come here. So,
excellent. Glad to hear it. Let's go to Clint because Clint's always last. I know, Mark, you always end up being near the end too, and we'll save Rhonda for last. We'll let you do the closeout on this hour.
What's going on, everybody?
Wait, hold on one second. Okay. Sarah's giving me a note. We spoke to Andrew. So soon they forget. Yeah. Andrew, don't feel bad. And Clint, go ahead.
Sir. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So success this week, man. Big success here in our household. Layla's going off to college on the 31st, and we now officially have everything that was on not the school's checklist, but her checklist. So we have every single thing a teenage young woman apparently would need to go to college. So I consider that a huge win. Now I don't have to spend any more money that I don't have. So that was great. And Steven, I gotta say, man, I miss your events at World of Beer. I'm very sad that we will not be able to have them at World of Beer anymore. But you did pack that place, man. It's one thing I always told people about your events is you have to go to Steven's events. If there's one event in town that you go to, it's gotta be yours. So,
big disappointment. World of Beer did go out of business because of COVID.
Yeah. And I want to piggyback on what Noah said a little while ago. I think that knowing that you have to answer this question every week, you definitely are more focused on, or more aware of what's happening and your successes, because you know that I have to talk about this on Tuesday, at 2:00. So that, and it's like, gratitude. Mike Manning, when I was on his show, he asked me, because I write down 5 things I'm grateful for from the last 24 hours. And he said, well, how do you do it? Do you just write it down and that way you can know it the next day? It's like, no, because when you're more conscious of these things, you're going to remember, because they're always going to be at the forefront of your mind. So it's there's a lot of successes in that every day. But the big success is Layla's school stuff this week.
And I'll tell you, a huge accomplishment, because we went this week for the first time to a store that was not Lowe's. And you have to go to Lowe's, but we went to like Bed Bath & Beyond, and I think we went to TJ Maxx and Home Goods in order to buy sheets. And these stores are empty. There's like no inventory. The supply chains are absolutely 100% positively disrupted. What I'm hoping is we're actually changing the supply chains, and we're going to see some products from the United States, maybe more of those, or from friends of the United States. I've noticed some of the things I've ordered online that you would normally get from China are now starting to say things like Thailand and India on them. So there is a major shift. The market can change very quickly. Nothing is permanent and written in stone. But right now, it is like something out of Mad Max when you go to Bed Bath & Beyond.
And by the way, Mad Max happened in 2021, according to the movie, by the way. So I just saw something about that the other day. So just let that.
You told me it happened in 1919, and I'd say we're much ahead of game, and we're in good shape.
I wish I could say that. And Andrew, before I get cut off, Andrew, I'm down, brother. Anthony's down for this little mastermind thing. This is gonna be real good, man. I can't wait.
Oh, these are really good, and Andrew really learned. It's mastermind. We're saying master, but he learned from someone who is great at running these type of masterminds. And so he has the structure, and he'll bring his own spice to the table as a chef to make it his own. But he knows how to do this. He's been doing them for years now. So definitely check. If you have an opportunity to mastermind with Andrew, please do so. Mark Roberts, see, you're not last.
All right, I appreciate that. Hey, jumping on what Clint was saying, I have my high performance planner right here on my desk. Do some of the same startup there. Also have to give a shout out as we talk about what our highlight of the week was. Mike Manning brought a couple clients our way. You're talking a Mike Manning podcast, everybody knows about you. It's the place to be. So I got to give a kudos and shout out. But with everything good going on with us, probably the highlight of our week or our success is this little fellow. I don't know if you can see this guy.
Oh, yeah, the kitten. I
have a kitten. We were down in Wilmington running some errands, and all of a sudden something caught my eye in the middle of the highway. We were able to whip over, and we found this half-pound, dehydrated, scared little kitten just in the middle of the road there. So we were able to pick him up, and it's been about 2 weeks later. I think he was about 4 or 5 weeks old. Still had the blue eyes when we found him. So, fortunately, the store we went to didn't have the things. We made this crazy route, and we would not have otherwise seen, now Felix. And I don't think he would have made it if we'd passed by. So right now, that's the highlight of our week. Our dog loves them. So we're doing well. Business is good. Yeah, what more do you ask for?
Knock on wood, you can't complain. 3 Martini lunch panelists are the nicest, most kind people in the world. They'll make themselves available to you anytime. Mark's down there in Miami. I speak to Mark. How many times a week do I speak to you? 10 times a week? Probably. About 10 times a week. Any of the people here, you can just grab a phone and they're available for you. Rhonda, Sher, you get to close out the first hour before we get to our topic.
Well, that's so cool. By the way, I have the same bed as you do, and we love it. and here's the quick story with it. When Bob snores, I sneak over to the other side and I get the clicker and I raise him up and it stops immediately. So it's
so
pretty
guess
fun.
what? There is an app now available. You can download so you can control his side of the bed with your app.
Oh, that was worth the whole price of admission. Thank you. That was so awesome.
Now you know.
So a couple things. Basically what I do is I help people get out of the LinkedIn Witness Protection Program so that you can actually get found and book 2 to 10 appointments a week. The cool things that have happened is last Saturday, believe it or not, Bob and I celebrated 50 years to the day we met. I was only a kid at the time, but we actually met on August 8th, 1970. So that was very, very cool. And
very hip time too. Very hip
sorry?
time. A very hip time in 1970.
It was. Actually, we still remember that. For those of you that are old enough, you're probably not. They were playing Heidi Ho on the radio. And he was taking his hands and going up my leg. I was wearing a pair of cutoff shorts at this party. And I was shaking like a leaf. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I want to see if your legs go all the way up." But I was like, oh my God. You know, he was an older man of about 15 at the time. So, and then the success story, which is actually pretty cool, is I have a client who is a Bob Proctor coach, and she also does handwriting analysis. And because of her LinkedIn profile, she had the assistant to Jack Canfield reach out to her. They actually want to do something with the book and, you know, potentially do some work with her. And it was all through LinkedIn. So she's over the top happy. I'm over the top happy. And it's all great. And I'm so excited to have you on the radio show tomorrow, Stephen. It's going to be great to interview you.
I'm very excited. And I'll have a great success in the next week or two because Rhonda is completely revamping and redoing my LinkedIn. And I'm like a very difficult client because I don't get her everything she needs when she needs it.
So I'll leave with a request that I had last week. If you have not yet given Stephen a recommendation on LinkedIn for the amazing, phenomenal work he does on this, go on LinkedIn, connect with him, and then write him a phenomenal recommendation on all the things he's doing with Rockstar, because I know he'll appreciate it.
Thank you. And I do appreciate the people that did leave a review last week. They were really great reviews, and I appreciate it. Cool. And so we're coming in, well, let me just go back to Rhonda. So Rhonda and I were working on a whole bunch of projects together. So you're going to be hearing about it, and we're working with Mark, and we're working with a whole bunch of other people to do some big things. So stay tuned for those successes. And I think that we can work and help like literally thousands of people. We're very excited about that.
Absolutely.
We'll keep it a little secretive for now.
I got to jump off because I have a call, but this has been so cool. I love seeing everybody.
Well, thanks for being with us.
Thanks.
So
bye, guys.
We're going into our new hour now. I'm going to have Domenic, can you repeat what the topic, what the question will be for the second hour?
Yeah, what do you want written on your tombstone? More or less. The nice version is, what do you want to be remembered for?
Right. What would the epitaph read?
What would your epitaph be? Yeah.
Epitaph
the crude version is for the late night show when we've had a couple of bourbons.
Well, there you go. Hey, so I, been intermittent fasting now for 5 months, and I cheated even once, Sarah? Not even once have I cheated. I pretty much plateaued on my weight loss, but I continue to lose inches. I have to buy really all new clothing. And one of the things that was the hardest in the beginning, I have now gotten to the point where I can drink totally black coffee with no sugar, no cream, and not go, blech. every time I finish drinking it. In fact, not only did I have 1 cup today, I had a second. And after like noon, I can have more, but I didn't have more with like cream and sugar, like basically my dessert coffee. And what I have done though, is I've also found out that once you can drink black coffee, you really can appreciate the taste of whiskey and bourbon and scotch a lot better. All of a sudden it tastes good, and it usually does not. So I am having, for my drink today, I'm having a Crown and Ginger, and so is Sarah, and I'm going, wow, the part that I'm always trying to cover up that I think tastes so awful, it tastes sort of good now. So I'm losing weight, and I'm most likely going to become an alcoholic. So stay tuned to see how that impacts my life going forward.
Even alcoholics go to meetings.
Well, that's a great way to get business.
There you go. It depends on what your business is.
I mean, if you're looking to network, I imagine there's a million meetings going on at any given time anywhere in the United States, and it's a great way to get business. So we have some really cool people joining us for the second hour. It is 3 o'clock, and we're going to jump right into it in a moment. But I want to talk to you guys in the audience, and you're going, oh, how come we can't be on the show? We want to participate more, da, da, da. Well, first of all, you can participate right now. You can be answering the question of this week. How do you want to be remembered? Drop it into the chat. And if you wrote something really cool, Sarah's going to bring that to my attention. And we'll talk about that as well. Also, you can go to our website and make a case of why you should be a panelist on the Rockstar Connect program. So on the first call, we had some California people, we had some Florida people. Now we have some more North Carolina people, more California people, and Florida people coming on the show. So before we start, I want to introduce, a special panelist today. It was a big deal for her to come on because she was a little nervous about it. But if you are a Rockstar Connect host, you know who this person is. You may have never seen them before. I've seen her before, but you know who she is. So, Andrew, who is it that calls you about, all your events and make sure everything goes okay at your venue? Who's that person?
That would be Miss Kimberly Patchen.
Yes, and we have Kimberly Patchen with us. And Kimberly, keeps, we did over 1,000 events last year. She was involved with every single one of those events. She did a reach out to every single host, every venue, communicated with the fantastic people on our team who are in the chat audience today. So if you want to talk to Alan or Adeline or Jackie, they are in the chat today. And Robert, these are the people that make sure that you find out about the events and that they actually occur. And if they need to be rescheduled, they're rescheduled. What people don't know about Kimberly is Kimberly has her own business as well. So Kim homeschools her kids, runs Rockstar Connect's backend, the concierge with the host, but she is also a crafter and a creator and owns her own company. She makes these phenomenal candles that burn forever. And why don't you share with us some of the successes you had this week with your candle company, Kim?
Wow, Stephen, that was a great introduction, and I'm pretty sure that made me super embarrassed, but yeah, thank you. That's okay. I had a little drink before the show to ease my nerves. I'm usually behind the scenes, and I'm really grateful to be on here and seeing some familiar faces. I've been listening in, and I'm glad to see that you guys are doing well. So yeah, thank you, Stephen and Sarah, for having me on here, and it's definitely an honor to be a part of the panel.
So you got to experience sort of the power of Facebook with your candles this week.
I did. Yeah, well, there's a lot of successes happening for me right now. It's almost unnatural in these times. But to think about today, online sales are doing well for the candle business. And sort of a dorky success would be that we're finding locust exoskeletons all over the yard. And so we have been learning about locusts, the kids and I. It's really interesting. Like literally we found like 8 of them in the yard today. I don't know why. It must be time for them to shed their skin. So that's been fun. but I'm making some great connections with the candle business. I'm the founder of Sincerely Candle Company, and that's one of the several things that I do to keep money flowing in our direction. And making great connections with Rockstar Connect has helped me. Mentoring with Stephen and Sarah, and just learning about networking and the way of life that it is, and it's helping my business, and it's amazing.
Well, that's terrific. Congratulations, and we're glad you're here with us today. I'm going to let you wait till a little bit later in the show to answer this week's topic that Domenic has given us. The topic of this week is, how would you like to be remembered on your gravestone? What do you want it written on your gravestone, or how do you want to be remembered to make it a little more nice and not about death? Okay. How do you want people to remember you when you leave the room, for that matter? And we have some great people. Everyone is returning this week, and we're going to give everyone the opportunity to speak. From California, we have Norma Hollis. Welcome, Norma.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
I'm doing great. We had a lot of feedback how people enjoyed you as a panelist the last couple of weeks, so we're glad you can make it back.
Well, thank you very much.
Your colorful backdrop as well. Your friend Rhonda Sher just left. She was here in the first hour, so you just missed her.
Yeah.
How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as someone who not only was always smiling, but someone who helped other people smile. And I help people become authentic. So I'm known as Miss Authenticity. So I want to be remembered as helping people be authentic and making a difference in the process.
So I know that it's a whole course, it's a whole training. People stay with you for years. But if you can give us one thing, how people can be authentic, just one item that we can start working on this week.
Well, authenticity starts in your inner voice, listening to your voice. So the one thing I would suggest is to listen. So if you think about when you ask yourself, when you say to yourself, I'm hungry, or what time is it, or what am I going to wear? You always give yourself an answer. So look at how the answer comes to you. Does it come as a thought, as a feeling, as a memory, as a message, something in your gut? And that's a clue for how your voice speaks to you. So connecting to that and listening to it and learning to trust it is one of the best things you can do to be authentic.
Well, that's terrific, because I was thinking this weekend about gut reactions, and your gut reaction is telling you the truth right there. It's extremely primitive, but extremely refined over tens of thousands of years, and you don't listen to yourself at your own peril.
That's true. The only challenge we have sometimes is we take our gut reaction and think and it's our ego sometimes. So we have to learn how to make the difference. So what's ego and what's your inner voice speaking to you?
Which is especially challenging for all of us, because we do all have egos, right? Who here has an ego?
Yes, indeed. That's like confidence as well. Yes.
Confidence and ego. Thank you for being on the show, Norma.
Thanks for having me, Stephen.
Dr. Holly.
Good
Do you know the question? You know the topic? Are you ready? You ready? Well, let's jump right into it.
So on my tombstone, I'd like it to say, she caused others to have light bulb moments and sigh in relief.
Okay, great. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so I've been working in the corporate training industry my entire adult life, and the thing that gives me just the most satisfaction is when I see people, when the light bulb moments go on, when they say, oh my gosh, this is perfect, this is just what I need, this is exactly what I need to have to be able to do the next thing they've asked me to do. Or when they either, sometimes it's an excited noise, but often it's a sigh of relief. And I'll have people say, you just saved me hours worth of work each week. And that just makes me happy, knowing that people can focus their time and energy to use the talents that they truly have and not have to worry so much about tools or other things.
So that's interesting, because that's something that Sarah and I were just discussing this weekend. So as a coach and trainer, do you help people determine what their hour is worth?
I've been asked to do that from time to time. Yeah, we do a lot of research, look at things online, obviously, to peg what the hourly rate might be. But it's amazing how much time savings you can actually determine that you can have if you don't spend as much time in the weeds, not making progress.
Right. That's why it's good to have a good team of people that you can reach out to that know better than you.
Absolutely.
So this weekend we were playing a little bit of Facebook Marketplace, which is one of my favorite games. You get rid of stuff that I don't want in my house, and frequently I'll put stuff up there for free because I just want it gone super.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna start stalking you.
Yeah. So I put something up, and actually there was a bidding war on the free item.
Are you kidding?
There was a bidding war on the free item, and I took the first person that offered money on the free item. And
So
then
whoever gets here the fastest.
yeah, really, that's what I just want it out and not be worried about someone pulling up with a truck and taking everything else out of our yard besides that item. And this guy goes, well, I'm going to fix up that item and I'm going to make $200 on it. And I said, all the power to you. That's fantastic. It would take me so many days to get that to work to be $200. It's just not worth my time. And it made Sarah and I sort of reflect on time savers and things that you can use. And for those of you in the audience, Marketplace is a great way. If you have stuff that you would normally be bringing to the dump, believe me, your trash is someone else's treasure.
Amen.
I was in the used and rare book business for 15 years, and all I did was sell other people's trash. I turned books into gold, other people's trash into gold. So believe me, there is someone who will buy anything that you have in your home. It is a treasure to them. Adam Bricker, welcome from South Florida.
Thanks, Stephen. Pleasure to be back here with you.
Well, I have an inkling of what you would want written on your gravestone, but why don't you share that with us?
So I would like to go down being known as one of the best connectors of all time. To the person who helped everybody to understand that we're all one and we're all connected.
That's fantastic. And you actually have created a new product that does that. Do you want to tell us real quickly what you've done with that? You didn't get a chance to share your success, so why don't you tell us a little more about that?
Absolutely. So my product's called Atom Connects, and I use the ATOM, atom, so the source of all matter and energy, because we are all one. And it's a digital branding toolbox. So you use it on your phone. You put all your information that you've ever used to brand yourself all in one spot, and you can easily text it. I think the best part of it, it's actually the number one easy to use word of mouth referral tool that I've ever come across. And it's just such my pleasure to teach people how to use it. So that's my major pivot. And using it to a success, tomorrow night, I'm actually hosting a virtual book tour for a #1 best-selling author. And all the people that we've connected with her are joining online, and she's actually signing and autographing her book for everyone while they join in on Zoom and on Facebook Live.
Well, we have quite a few authors on this panel, people that have written books and are writing books. And I'm sure they would like to connect with you to learn more about how they can virtual book tour. So that's terrific. Congratulations on your success, Adam.
Thank you, Stephen.
Jackie, welcome back. I'm glad. I was a little nervous.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
I'm great. I was a little nervous. I didn't see you in the first hour, and I was afraid we wouldn't have an opportunity to speak with you this week. So I'm glad you were able to make it on the program. How would you like it to read on your gravestone?
I would like it to read that a person who loved everyone, and especially my family. I don't think you can ask for more than that. If you can love everyone and you have a great family, what more do you need?
And you have a big family, and you have a lot
I
of...
do.
What has been your success this week with the Derek Wittenberg Foundation?
Oh my gosh, it has been amazing. We are getting ready to make a big announcement that we are going to award a big scholarship to a very special young man. He's a student at NC State. And I'm just excited about this because it actually is a donor matching scholarship. And we had a very special contributor make it possible for us to help this young man who is going to do some great things. He has a very bright future. And we are so happy to be able to assist him. And he's a senior, and I'm excited. He's going to graduate in December, and he's going to be able to do it because we're able to pay off his his ballots for his tuition. And I'm excited. I will make the announcement soon and introduce everyone to this young man. And that's a huge success for me this week, but even better than that, I took my first agility walk this morning. Yay, I made it 1.5 miles. My knee is healing ahead of schedule. So I'm so excited about that.
That's fantastic. So this gentleman, once he receives the award and it's public, do you think he'd like to come on the 3 Martini lunch?
Absolutely. And I have a couple of other scholars that I think 3 Martini panelists and listeners would be happy to hear from. So yes, we can talk about that. But this young man, I think you all would enjoy hearing what he has to say.
Great. So we definitely like to have him. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Oh, you're welcome.
Kim, it's your first time on the show. I gave you a little bit of breather so you can see how people, and you do watch 3 Martini lunch religiously. If ever someone has watched all 21 3 Martini lunches, they've watched 42 hours of 3 Martini lunch. So I hope while you were watching, you were getting some work done too, because that's a lot of hours listening to us. But everyone does bring a lot of great things to the table. So I know you gain from that as well. So Kim, what would you like on your gravestone? How would you like people to remember you?
Probably the same thing that I have on my bio on social media is just creating a life of love. I know at first that might sound corny, but I feel like we as Americans who speak English really have a hard time understanding love. In several other languages, they have 18 words for love and different ways to express it. And for me, it's just, learning about it not only in relationships with, communication and compromise and love and relationship, but also with your friends, like, having it out to the point where you get angry and get frustrated and communicate your real feelings and get over it. And also, with your kids, being able to ask them who they are instead of teach them what you want them to be. And so there's like many levels to it for me, and I just want to understand that. And if I can die understanding that, that would be a great thing.
Well, that's some really good stuff. And I think that we go over to Domenic, because people don't know this, but Domenic is an expert in love. He's very well known as one of the great lovers of all times. His middle name is actually Casanova. Before you answer the question, Domenic, of the week, which is the question that you created, does love have a place in business? Do you love your clients? Do your clients love you? And can you explain that?
Hold on, I'm just trying to process that introduction, Stephen. I don't know really what to say to that other than thanks. But so, do my clients love me? Do I love my clients? I'm not sure like how to quantify that, because there's so many different kinds of love. I mean, the Greeks had like 4 different words for love, and so there's like how you love a family member, how you love a friend, how you love an intimate partner, how you love as an action. That's actually my company, New York Life, ran a 60-second ad on the Super Bowl talking about those various differences, and how the most difficult thing that you can do is love deliberately. Love is an action. It's work, right? So, I mean, do my clients love me? Maybe not in the moment when we're doing the work, but when it comes time to make good on what you said you were going to do, when it comes time to follow through, that's showing love to your client in that agape sense, that you're doing for them because it's your passion to make sure that they're taken care of. So in a sense, yes, you can show love to your clients, and they can reciprocate with appreciation. Particularly, you know, one of the most impactful things that has happened in my time with the company is delivering benefit checks to families who are in a grieving process. I mean, I'm in the financial services and life insurance business, and that's one of the most difficult things that you can do. But being the person who shows up with the relief of, you can focus on being with your family, loving your family, and remembering your loved ones, and not having to worry about whether or not you're going to be able to pay the bills. You like, that's been taken care of. So, you know, that's when the clients that you work with, they really most appreciate and love you back, because you made it so that they can do what they have to do and focus on what's important, truly important. So
Excellent.
you know, that's a lot. And do I want to be remembered for that? I mean, with the people that I work with, yes. And but I want to be remembered by my friends and family for different things, right? So, you know, generosity of spirit, generosity of self. You know, I want, and I try to live my life by, you know, being somebody who's going to drop everything to help somebody and to just give, and, you know, not worry about return. Return is not even in my, it's not anything that enters my mind when I'm engaging with somebody. It's just all about, you know, what are we doing? How can I help? Let's make this better. Or let's make it fun, whatever it is. You know, if it's something that we're doing as friends that we're fun, you know, let's just do it. I'm not worried about who's taking care of what. It's just, what do we need to do to make it happen? That's all. So
excellent. And Domenic, do you love us?
I love you.
You love all
Steven.
of us on this panel?
Oh yes, absolutely. But you most of all.
Thank you, Domenic. I appreciate
it. You, Domenic.
I definitely love you too, Jenny. Don't get upset.
The feeling is mutual. Robert Hayek is a man who is full of love.
Yeah.
And life and vigor, and someone who he learns something new all the time. He came to his career, you know, he and I are about the same age. He came, you know, he was a musician, and now he's a financial wizard. How do you want to be remembered?
Well, mine's going to be a little different. Gone fishing. That's it.
Gone fishing.
Gone fishing.
Okay, you got to explain that one for us.
Well, when I'm not doing anything else, I'm fishing. So even during the day when I take my lunch break, I take a half hour to eat and a half hour to fish.
And then you have fish for dinner.
What's that? No, I don't eat them.
Oh, you don't eat them. You release them.
No, I don't like fish. I just like to catch them.
You need to come up here. You need to come up here to North Carolina. I run a Facebook group page called Lake Gaston Community Information. We have about 12,000 members on that page, and they're all over the world, because people from all over the world, because people are learning that Lake Gaston has some of the largest catfish in the world, and they have walleyes and crappies and award-winning bass. And the lake is almost, when you look at it, the lake looks like an ocean. It's that big.
Yeah, I got about 120-acre lake behind me.
Oh, that would be like a tiny cove.
Yeah, it's a puddle.
It's a puddle in Lake Gaston. So you'll come up here. I know a lot of the fishing guides that, you know, that are making on the covers of those magazines. And we'll get some good fishing in. How does that sound?
Sounds great to me. I'm always in.
Robert, so you let me know when you're coming up, and I'm going to make that happen.
Will do.
Thank you. Jenny Midgley, how would you like to be remembered?
I want people to say that I was kind, that I loved well, and that I had a lot of fun and laughed a lot.
And how are you going to make him remember you that way? What do you do in your life and in your business to make that happen?
Well, I had a client tell me that I needed to sell a Jenny doll that had my laugh in it. And so she could carry me around in her pocket. So I'm like, ooh, that's a fun merchandising idea. Maybe that'll make my mark on the world.
It's a great merchandising idea. Do you remember, like in the 90s, they had those dolls, you would squeeze them and their eyes would pop out?
Yes.
You could have one with your image on it and they could squeeze you and it would make that laugh.
Yeah. That's what, I don't know about the squeezing part. That's kind of creepy. But, you know, I think that in some, maybe like one of those pull strings, like the Woody doll from Toy Story, that would be fun.
The only thing is, if you did create one of those dolls, I think you would reach the pinnacle of what anybody would want to do in their career, and you would lose all interest in anything else.
I do not believe that at all.
You would be the doll person. And, no? Okay.
I can't sit still, Steve. I mean, you've met me, right?
Right. Let's get that doll made and see what happens. We'll see who's right there. Clint Webb, how do you want to be remembered?
It's going to be a common theme for everybody on this panel. It seems like, you know, I want to be, you know, I'll just piggyback off of Adam, I guess. You know, I want to be known as a connector. I want to be known as somebody that helped people be a better version of themselves. So, and there's this quote, and I cannot remember who said it, and I said it on Domenic's call the other day. So the attitude of gratitude is essential for happiness. And I think that just sums it up. You know, you just be grateful, practice gratitude, and just be nice to people, be kind, be helpful, and be willing. And I think that's the most important part, because, you know, if you're doing it begrudgingly, it's going to show. So, you know, just be willing to help. You know, I just want to be known as somebody that was willing to do whatever they could for somebody else.
That's fantastic. Have you found there's been challenges now that we have to do this at a socially distanced level, or have you totally overcome those challenges?
No, I mean, you know, for people like us, you know, Steven, I don't think it's an issue, man. I mean, like, you know, one of my great downfalls and one of my best attributes is that I talk to everybody the exact same way. So I don't talk to you guys any differently than I talk to my 18-year-old daughter. You know, so it's just one of those things where you come off as genuine. And, you know, I think that's the most important part of it, man. You know, be willing, be genuine, because if you're willing, it'll come off that way. For sure.
100%. I mean, I'm having a little bit of Zoom fatigue, a lot of phone call fatigue, because I do like to have, I especially like to entertain and have people over and break bread with them. And
we need to do that again soon, Steven, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. And I've said that many times, 100% on the show today.
Mm-hmm.
That's a challenge, meeting people in person, seeing them so excited. That's why, you know, the event at Chris's place, the 3 Martini lunch live is so important to the hosts here in North Carolina, and really to the hosts all over the country, that we can show that we can get together. And we refuse to be shut down in the future. Mm-hmm. Nothing is going to prevent us from our right to assemble. We're going to do it safely. We're going to wear masks when necessary, but no one is going to prevent us from connecting and in person. I mean, it was great. We haven't seen, you know, Kimberly and, you know, Kim in months. She was able to come out last week and we were able to have a powwow. It's hard over the phone to get some sort of business done. So I'm glad that, you know, I saw today that, you know, cases are dropping in North Carolina the last several days. You know, knock on wood, really good news. What were you going to say, Clint? I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
I don't even remember. I was responding to something that you said, and now I can't remember.
About getting together and, you know, doing business face to face. See, Clint, and those of you who watch regularly know this, but others may not. You know, he made a big change in his health over the last, you know, 5 years or so. So he does some networking that other people may not do. So he does some physical networking. He does, you know, he goes out golfing and networks at the same time. Noah Ronen, who's not on the program right now, she was on the first half. She's a coach. She has a program where it's networking while walking. So for those of you here in the audience that are feeling like, hey, I'm not connecting, I don't feel comfortable going to Rockstar Connect's event at Sullivan's or, you know, one of the Rockstar Connect events in my area, That doesn't mean you can't meet someone at a park that's open or in your neighborhood and keep a distance from one another. And, you know, although if you're wearing a mask, you know, probably you don't want to jog or run, network, but you could walk slowly. Here, the temperatures dropped 10 degrees less than they were last week, and I'm excited because I'm hoping we'll get down to the 70s by next month. And then there will be the opportunity to do a lot of outdoor networking and keeping our health up while keeping our mental health up. And that's really important. We don't know the impact of what this is doing for isolated people, especially.
Can I say something about that?
Yes, go ahead.
So one of my other networking groups that I'm a part of, I'm on the planning event committee, and we have figured out that exactly what you were just saying, find a park with a park bench, a canopy, a grill, or, you know, people, actually what we're going to do is make it a potluck. So everybody bring their favorite dish, either side or appetizer, and either side or main dish. And we figured we'd have enough food to feed the, 15 to 20 people that are going to be there, but it's going to be outside. It's going to be, very safe environment as far as COVID goes. And so I think that is definitely a fantastic way, to get out and in front of people, man, like thinking outside the box, Stephen, and you're good at that as well. So I would agree.
Excellent idea, and terrific. And what I was thinking about with the elderly, we got our parents covered. I hope you're all being good and calling your parents or your grandparents. But there are a lot of people out there that their children have no contact with them. They're in, adult congregate living facilities or nursing homes, or they're in apartments alone. See if you can adopt a senior in your area. Go to one of the organizations in your area that deal with the elderly and see if you can start making a phone call. Because if you want to be remembered, maybe not remembered when you're gone, but remembered right now, the quickest way you can be kind and share of yourself is to jump on a phone call with one of those people where you expect absolutely nothing in return. Now, obviously, they're not going to do business with you. They're way beyond business. They're retired. Reach out to those people, make a connection in that way that's meaningful. And you will get a return on investment, though. The return on investment, you're going to feel great having an impact in someone else's life. Andrew Pierce, how do you want to be remembered?
Make sure Don doesn't have anything in his mouth. He almost spit it out last time I said this.
Okay.
But I wanted to say, that didn't work, because I'm always really fast to try something new and, kind of half-baked, sort of like the mastermind locally idea, figure it out as we go. And eventually there's going to be one that blows up in my face. But until then.
Well, I think it's an excellent idea. And I did something, and I do it periodically. I do it every year, where I will put a post on Facebook where I say, I am opening up, 5 slots, coaching slots, no charge. I don't sell coaching for people that want to, share an idea, get some advice and some coaching. And I love it. I mean, they love it. They get a lot of value out of it. But I think I get even more value because I learn more from teaching and speaking to other people than just trying to figure it out on my own. So chances are, if they have a problem, it's a problem I've already had, or I may be currently having, and I'm going to be able to work with them. So go on social media. You're all leaders, all of the people out in the audience on Facebook. I challenge you to make the offer like Andrew did and mastermind with someone in your community. Offer them some value without any expectation of anything in return. Mark, how would you like to be remembered?
Keying on your ego comment way back, I'd like to say, right on my tombstone, I wish this was a pyramid.
I wish this was what? I didn't hear that last.
I was hoping for a pyramid.
I was hoping for a pyramid. That's great. You can have a pyramid now.
Yeah. I was kind of keying on what Adam was saying and Clint was saying. I would love for people to have that big question, how do you know Mark? Because not only do I love connecting people, I love connecting people in diverse areas from diverse groups, and kind of kicking on what Dawn was saying. I would love somebody that, I stopped and helped them with the flat tire on the highway, be there going, hey, how do you know Mark? I don't know. The kid just stopped and helped. That's that would be the greatest way to be known, in a fun way.
Well, that's 100%. That's so right on the nose. So like when people ask me about networking, they've been asking me about networking for decades. So what do you consider a success in networking? You have success behind your head right there. I said the best is, and this is, I formulated this when I was in my 20s, when you go and you meet someone and they mention you to you, not knowing you're you. That's when you're really networked in. That's when you're really connected. And Adam is clapping, and a few of you are clapping because you've experienced it, and you can't believe it's going to happen. But you go, "Wow, I am really connected in at this point, and I've been successful in networking." So I think people pointed this out. Todd Swicegood of Referral Book, who is a sponsor of this event, has pointed out the reason why he's a sponsor of this event is he knows that Rockstar Connect attendees and hosts, and especially the hosts, are the best connectors in the world. They take networking seriously. It is not a means to an ends. They do it, they're not selfish. They do it because they want to connect, and they want, I picture, back when I was a kid, and tell me if you guys can identify with this, when you were small, worrying about what was going on in another part of the world. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and we had the issues with AIDS and children dying in Africa from hunger and strife and war, and I wanted to do something about that, and felt very impotent in the fact that I couldn't do anything about it. But then I learned that if I can make impact on the people that are right around me, it's a butterfly effect, and it goes all over the world. What you do in your immediate area goes all over the world. Before we get over to Katia, I'd like to get your opinion on that, Dr. Holly, as a coach, on that feeling, how you can make impacts right in your own area, and then it impacts the entire world.
Yeah, well, it's the idea of when you throw a pebble into the water and the ripples, the ripple effect. And anytime I was just talking to somebody about this. Every morning when I wake up, I ask myself 2 questions before I ever get out of bed. And the first question is, what can I do today to help someone? Who is somebody that really could use my help? It doesn't have to be a big thing. Just who is somebody I can reach out, just check on how they're doing and do something nice for them, whatever. And then the second question I ask myself is, what can I do to make myself a little bit better? And I think even though those are both little tiny things, if you think about that, if you do that every single day of your life, by the time you've hit a year, you've done an awful lot of really positive things. And you're probably nowhere near the same person that you started at the beginning of that time.
And you might even get a pyramid.
You might even get a pyramid.
Excellent. And Norma's out in California. Norma has a very specific type of client. She's an extremely experienced coach. She deals with CEOs. We have CEOs listening to the show, but not every single person is a potential CEO. But I'm just guessing, might be putting words in your mouth, but I think you like to come onto the show because you enjoy sharing your knowledge with other people to improve their lives. And it's part of your contribution as a citizen.
Yeah, exactly. Meg, I was thinking today how much I enjoyed the second hour more than the first hour because of the opportunity to share. So that's absolutely true. As coaches, that's what we do. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're here in our second hour. And I know not everybody can do 2 hours, so I really do appreciate the people when they make themselves available. Katia Rave. I always sort of leave Katia to the end because she's listening so intently to what everyone has to say. How do you want to be remembered, and how have you synthesized all the other information that's here?
I always thought this was probably one of the most interesting questions who's always asked, right? How do we want to be remembered? However, it's really the perception of other people. So, a lot of time we want to be remembered a certain way, but are we really acting that way? Are we doing everything that we can for this? And this is, I like the question, and a lot of time I don't like the question because it's so what we want, and we make it about us, which is really has nothing. I mean, we're not there anymore, right? So, so the more I was listening to everybody, I was just like, wow, what I really would want or what I know I would be remembered. So it made me kind of listening like in two ways. And I know then she always tried to feed us. That's definitely going to be on it. I mean, whether it's my kids, anybody who comes to my house, it's like I'm this big Italian mama, and I know I'm French, but it totally is this. I'm always trying to feed people, and what do you need? I always have food on the table. But really, at the end of the day, I think I wanted to say she was just a normal girl, because this is really what I am. I know a lot of people look at me as, I'm very successful and I'm on, I'm speaking everywhere internationally. I have this book, and at the end of the day, I'm just an immigrant. I'm someone who didn't speak English, and I want to show that if I can do it, anybody can do it. And that's really what I want to be remembered. It has nothing to do with my business. It has nothing to do with, the inspiration I give to my client. At the end of the day, it's, if I can do it, then anybody else can do it.
Well, can I add on to that a
Sure.
little bit?
Sure.
People can do anything they want to do. An opportunity comes all the time, but people pass up on the opportunity. So every person here that came on this program came here because it was an opportunity to speak, as Norma says, their authentic self. They can be completely unvarnished here. They don't have to put on any airs. I'll vouch for anyone here. They're honest and ethical, and what they speak about is what they believe in. They have all achieved the lifestyles that they want to achieve. They're not, they are able to make money, but they certainly aren't focused on that. They're focused on helping other people. And that's a great thing about the 3 Martini lunch. Adam, this is your second time being on the panel. What do you think of this type of venue?
I think it's wonderful because, I get thrilled in connecting with people all over the globe and all over the country. You've really done a great job bringing together masterfully a group of people. And it's probably my 10th or 11th time because I've watched so many other times. I actually put it up on my calendar. Mark's been a key factor in getting me connected to your group and having the conversations with you and Sarah and understanding, that even though we're all pulled back from COVID and we're separated physically, we're still connected digitally. I think the forum's great, and it allows us to all be connected afterwards as well. And if it wasn't for things like this, how would I ever get to meet Kimberly?
Right. And I think Kimberly, you're going to sell a lot of candles today. So pay attention to that website, because they're going to sell a lot of candles. Thank you so much, Adam. So Shaun, I made you wait to the very end. Okay?
Take it for last.
That's okay. Shaun J, I've known him for now a decade. And he and I had a great phone call last week, and he's telling me about all the interesting things he's doing. There's something I want to point out. Everyone knows him, Shaun, as a magician. A magician is a creator. Kimberly, you talk about creators all the time. She has a Facebook page for creators. Shaun is a creator. He creates his tricks and, his illusions. I don't want to say tricks. I don't know if that's sort of a demeaning. You're not tricking people, they're participating. So you create these illusions and the scripts that go with it and teach people how to do corporate building and team building, etc. But I learned something when doing a one-on-one with Shaun that I didn't know about him. He does incredible 3D renderings of objects and ideas, much like he can create his illusions. So if you're listening to this program and you're an inventor, or you're trying to get a patent, or you're a patent attorney, Shaun J is someone that you need to reach out to discuss that, because he can make your illusions be a reality in this particular case. Am I representing you correctly, Shaun?
Yeah, from your mind to design, creating something that's abstract into a tangible thing. That's my job as a magician, to remind people that everybody can tap into their own creativity and things are subject to change at a moment's notice. So that's more important than ever nowadays. I mean, things are changing all the time. So change can be good and bad depending on your perspective of it. So, you know, I'm just trying to go with the flow and creating these designs and using software like that has always been a passion of mine. And I've been doing it more and more. And lately I found that I could help people doing it. So appreciate you mentioning that.
Well, I think there's a lot of people on the panelists that can definitely connect you to people. I mean, Mark runs into people like that all the time that have ideas. And am I right, Mark? You would be a good person. Shaun would be someone you would
Absolutely.
want on your Rolodex. So you definitely want to connect with him. And also Adam can make some great connections for you in that, because he knows creators from all over the country.
Wonderful.
And, you know, and Adam and I, we have a lot of similarities, grew up in the same area, same background. So I'm sure he has a very deep group of people that he's dying to introduce you to. I can see the wheels turning in his head right now, and he probably has some projects that he wants to talk to you about. So Mark's going to jump off. We're going to say goodbye to Mark right now, but Shaun has created some illusions for us. I'm going to hand everything over to you, Shaun.
Great. Well, thanks, Stephen. This is a pleasure to be back and to share something interesting and creative with you. Again, I'm Shaun J. If you haven't seen me here before, I'm Rockstar Connect, and I've been doing this thing called magic for the past 17 years of my life, and this is my passion. And I'm so thankful that I can bring it still to the public through the magic of technology. So we're all going to try something together, actually at home where you are sitting here right now. Just a little warm up, just to show you how perspective is everything, and how we think one thing and it's not always really the case. We don't always have everything figured out. So I'm going to open up your mind a little bit. Everybody do like this for me. Everybody hold up your hand like this. Everybody hold up your hand. That's good. And everybody unmute your mic. It's okay if I hear you. Okay, because I might need to communicate with some of you. All right. Now what I want you to do is I would like you to flip your hand so you're looking at the palm of your hand right now. Okay. And what I want you to do now is follow my instructions, and we're going to take our hand. Let's palm up like this. And you're going to flip your hand over without actually flipping your hand over. Sounds strange, right? Just follow along with me. Everybody just try to see it. Everybody take that hand that's palm up, and I want you to bend your elbow so your hand is up just like this. Okay? Now what I want you to do is take that hand, still locked in that position, and I want you to bend at the elbow so it's now kind of like over your heart, kind of like you're doing a salute to the American flag. Now I want you to take that hand and point it straight out, almost like you're going to do a karate chop. Good, good, good. You guys are following along wonderfully. And bring it up one more time like this. And now finally bring it over your heart again, like this, and stick it straight out in front of you. And now look at your hand. You've just flipped your hand over without actually flipping your hand over.
Wow.
Interesting, right? Yeah. How perspective is everything, and how we think. I mean, this is a great metaphor for life, how we think we're going down the wrong path, or how we think things are going wrong in our life, terribly wrong, but we actually haven't seen it from the right angle. And maybe it's setting us up for a success in the future. And I don't know about you, but I've had that happen to me all the time. I have that happen to me this week. I was like, man, XYZ didn't work out, but at the end of the week, I go, oh, that didn't happen because I was supposed to be doing this instead. I think you all can agree on that. And I'd like to talk to you real quick about the pace of life right now. And I think everybody would also agree that the rules are changing like every single day. The rules are changing in government. The rules are changing on social media. And things are changing so fast, day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute, second to second. And the pace is getting faster and faster. So with all that being said, I'd like to talk to you. I prepared a very special piece. I wrote this to illustrate the pace of life. Check this out. Now, life has an interesting pace. See, quite often we go through our entire lives in one big rush. Go, 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 and rush, rush, rush. And pretty soon, we don't have any time to just stop and breathe. See, when we're young, we're constantly in a rush, going from one meeting to the next with our busy schedules. And then hopefully by the middle of our life, we come to realize that it's okay to slow things down. See, everybody can benefit from slowing down just a little bit. It gives us time to rest and relax, time to recharge our thoughts. And sometimes we need to take a break from it all and just stop. We need to stop with the endless technology. We need to stop with the overstimulation and mindless activities. Sometimes we need to stop and just smell the flowers. You see, we all want our life to go as smooth as silk. But then that's exactly when life's problems start to kick in. See, we pull and we pull, but things get tighter and tighter. See, we too can solve life's problems as if by magic. We can solve our problems in new ways, and other people will learn from our example. See us take on new problems, take on old problems with new solutions. So the next time you find yourself in a bit of a knotty problem, no need to freak out or overreact. Just remember this. Remember that each of us has the power to transform our life. And sometimes we just need to stop, take a break. Remember that we're in control, that we can break free challenges in life that bind us. And thank you. Thank you. Now, one more thing I just want to remind you guys. One more thing. Everybody say this magic word with me. Everybody say the word breathe.
Breathe.
We have to remember to do that sometimes. And if we breathe and we take that in and we savor life for what it really is, watch. We can realize our true potential. And that's my story. The end. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaun. That's fantastic. I know you put a lot of effort into that. We absolutely enjoyed it.
Thanks, guys.
Shaun's going to drop his information into the chat. He not only can he do the 3D rendering for you, but he can also run a virtual event for you as an MC. You can come to your private, safe, socially distant events involved in team building. He'll work with you with your theme of your event and what the purpose is. Shaun, unless there's any changes in the future on his part, unless something drastic comes up, will be at the 3 Martini lunch as our guest, interacting with all of the attendees, and we're very excited about that.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And for those of you who want to attend, that's August 27th from 11:30 to 1:30 at Sullivan's Steakhouse here in Raleigh, North Carolina. We do have people coming from out of state for that event as well. And you can find out about that on our website and buy tickets there. I mean, they're only $55 a piece. But you can also be a sponsor of the event, and that's really cool. If you're a platinum sponsor of the event, you get 10 tickets, and if you want, we will select 9 people from the Raleigh area to use those tickets that you specifically want to network with. So keep in mind, it's sort of like priming the pump a little bit there to make sure that you have networking success. So check out the next event. I want to thank everyone for attending today. You've been fantastic panelists. I know I have learned a lot, and I feel really good. And I'm ready for this to occur. Yes, Jackie is going to be a sponsor of the event. I got to make sure I get a link to you. Hope to see you all next week on 3 Martini Lunch. Congratulations, Katia, on getting married. You'll be Mrs. Are you going to still be Katia Rave, or is it going to be Katia?
Yes, for work I would still be that. I will keep, but I am taking his name for the personal and on my driving license.
And also congratulations on your new book, which is coming out, and that's like having a child.
Yes.
She'll put the information about that in the chat. If everyone could please put their hand up, wave goodbye, and we'll see you all next week, same time, same place. Thank you.